The Socialist Party has accused the government of using scare tactics to encourage people to vote in favour of the fiscal treaty. The Minister for Finance warned this morning that if people vote no, the budget he was planning for later this year would be dramatically more difficult.
Day 2 of the fiscal treaty campaign started with somewhat of a warning from the Finance Minister. Arriving into government buildings for this morning's cabinet meeting, he said people were mistaken if they thought voting no would mean no more austerity.
If there's a no vote, the budget I'll be planning for later in the year will be dramatically more difficult than if there's a yes vote. And if people think that by voting no they'll avoid further tax cuts and tax increases, actually a no vote will do the opposite.
Those comments drew this response from Sinn Féin.
I think Minister Noonan has some cheek given the level of hardship that his budget has imposed on people, particularly low and middle income families. It's very clear at this stage that the government have no positive argument as to why people should support this treaty, so they're resorting to threats and bullying.
At the Socialist Party's campaign launch, members said the Minister's remarks were an example of the government fighting dirty.
It looks like a day passed in the campaign before they decided that nicely wasn't working, and they decided to bring out the big guns. And really, it is an attempt to put a gun to the Irish people's head and to force people to vote for something that they're not in favour of.
Earlier, the pro-treaty side received a boost when the biggest farmers' organisation, the IFA, formally declared for a yes vote.
We're holding this launch today to give a clear signal to Irish farmers, Irish agribusiness and those employed in it how important a yes vote and confidence in the EU and a strong euro is for Ireland.
The debates will continue. Fine Gael are due to launch their official campaign later this lunchtime. A televised debate on the treaty will be aired on TV3 tonight. Conor Hunt, RTE News, Dublin.
And for more on this, our political correspondent David McCullough joins me now. David, the Socialist Party accusing the government of scare tactics with this budget warning this morning.
That's right, Eileen. I think there were some eyebrows raised at what Michael Noonan had to say, as both the Socialist Party and Sinn Féin were quick to point out. We are already in a programme with the Troika. The broad budgetary targets have been set out already. We know what is supposed to happen in the budget in December for next year, so how could it be any worse? I think what Michael Noonan was trying to get across was the argument from the government that if we vote no, we won't have access to the European Stability Mechanism in due course when we finish the current programme, and therefore we'll have to close the gap between spending and income much quicker than would otherwise be the case. He didn't actually spell it out like that, but I think that's what he meant. But I think when the Taoiseach launches the Fine Gael campaign in about 25 minutes' time, he may well face some questions about that, and perhaps we get some further answers.
So David, what about these concerns about a major overspend on the part of the Yes campaign for the next few weeks?
Well, the Socialist Party's Paul Murphy, MEP for Dublin, acknowledged at their launch of their poster campaign this morning that they would be outspent by the Yes side. The Socialist Party, for instance, is planning to spend about €55,000, most of which is coming from their political group in the European Parliament. Compare that to Fine Gael, talking about spending around €300,000, Labour about 100,000. Fianna Fáil will obviously be mounting a campaign as well. You then have various civil society groups like the IFA, as you saw in Conor's report, and the IBEC and so on. So it is likely that the Yes side will outspend the No side, but as Fine Gael discovered during the presidential campaign when they had the highest spending campaign, it doesn't necessarily translate into votes if the public are resistant to the message you're trying to sell.
Okay, David McCullough, thank you.